Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, I'm Christiane Piano, and in this week's episode, we're diving into an experience that can be challenging to discuss, yet it's crucial to awaken to in any body-mind growth process. Have you ever found yourself asking in a quiet moment, why can't I cry? Why don't I feel anything? That profound sense of numbness. It isn't an absence of feeling at all. In fact, it's often because we're feeling too much all at once. Our body gets flooded with intense physical sensations, powerful emotions, our mind races with red flag thinking, and our nervous system goes into overdrive, feeling threatened. What exactly does it mean to feel numb? Being emotionally numb signifies an emotional experience that's lower than expected, dampened, or even completely missing. In situations where you might anticipate joy or sadness, you may instead feel empty or detached. This isn't about feeling positive or negative, it's the sheer absence of emotion. Physically, this can also manifest as dissociation, where you might feel physically present but mentally distant. But beyond just the feeling of numbness, what's truly happening within us, in our nervous system and even our brain, when this state takes over? Let's dive deeper. It's a clear sign of an overactivated nervous system, specifically the dorsal vagal branch, which can shift us into a dissociated state. This is a natural protective mechanism, our body's way of keeping us safe when it perceives a threat, real or imagined. We essentially leave our bodies to survive. This state of dissociation can manifest in various ways. You might notice you're feeling physically present yet mentally distant. Perhaps your voice sounds dull, flat, or even monotone. You may experience a struggle to focus, forgetting simple things like why you entered a room or where you left your keys. Having very little energy even for basic tasks, like taking a shower. And while these feelings are unfolding, significant changes are also happening in your brain. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for thinking and logic, actually becomes less engaged. Meanwhile, your amygdala, often called the brain's alarm system, becomes over-responsive. And your hippocampus, which handles memory and sequencing, essentially goes offline. This is why many people mistakenly believe they're experiencing memory problems, when in reality, Their brain is simply prioritizing survival above all else. A powerful, innate response when overwhelmed or in perceived danger. It's not a memory problem, it's a survival mechanism. Understanding the brain and nervous system is one piece of the puzzle. Now, let's gently explore what's unfolding within your body-mind when numbness arises. This state often signals that you've reached a point of overwhelm, where perhaps too much undigested pain is present for your system to process consciously. As Lori Gottlieb observes, people often mistake numbness for nothingness, but numbness isn't the absence of feelings. It's a response to being overwhelmed by too many feelings. This experience of overwhelm is key, and what's truly fascinating and often incredibly challenging is how we, as a society, have been conditioned to respond to this pain in ways that frankly often keep us stuck. As human beings, we have all experienced pain, and we've been taught what to do with it as well. For most, it's about pushing it down and opting for a mind over matter, positive thinking kind of approach. Then there are those that go to the other extreme and spew it all over everyone and everything, and can become lethargic and resigned, believing that that's just the way life is. The first is a state of resistance, and the second is a state of resignation. But what if I told you there's a powerful third option, one that most people don't even consider? This third option, which is absolutely learnable at any point in your life, is the profound practice of being with the experience as is and allowing it to flow through you. The experiences we deem as positive and we allow to flow through and can often cling to them, not wanting them to end. And the ones we deem negative or do not like, we often ignore, stuff down, or simply pretend that they are not there. When you learn to be with what you are experiencing, you learn to reside in your body. In my work with clients, particularly within a BodyMind series or those utilizing Your Reset, my video-on-demand BodyMind Wellbeing Resource Center, I often observe a common resistance to truly embodying this learning, or should I say, unlearning. It's often easier to engage with concepts intellectually, but when it comes to actively engaging with a playlist designed to support an awakening, to feel and to take a look at the stuckness, that's where the greatest challenge can unfold. I recently had a follow-up conversation with a participant in the Pleasure Series, one of my BodyMind offerings, who was engaging in this type of work for the first time. They discovered that the greatest impact of the embodiment journey and actual awakening doesn't happen during the 2-hour Sunday sessions, but rather in the consistent interaction with the playlist and observing one's experience in daily life. That's truly where the opportunity unfolds. While it's vital to respect individual timing, pacing, and engagement levels, it's equally important for each person to honestly notice that what we often avoid is precisely what we need most for our growth, rather than what we want or what feels safe. And this brings us to a common challenge. Many of us still find ourselves resorting to ways of avoiding what's truly present, sometimes even unconsciously. This can look like putting on a brave face, or what's commonly known as faking it, which often serves to keep difficult, sometimes traumatic experiences buried. It calls to mind Jon Kabat-Zinn's profound words. We must be willing to encounter darkness and despair when they come up and face them, over and over again if need be, without running away or numbing ourselves in the thousands of ways we conjure up to avoid the unavoidable. This is one of the reasons why people are drawn to more mental approaches, linear, rational thinking. Give me the magic pill and make it all go away kind of thing. Embodied learning, at its heart, is a powerful approach that recognizes transformation isn't solely a mental activity. It's about emphasizing the critical role of your body and its interactions in the learning and unlearning process, giving yourself permission to feel, engage with physical sensations, and connect abstract concepts to concrete bodily actions. However, here's where the deeper challenges often emerge. Many of us are living on top of so many uncomfortable, undigested experiences that even the thought of truly feeling them can trigger a numb state, a desire to flee. As the red flag gets kicked off in the mind, the nervous system kicks in and boom, the storm is there. And the only thing on your mind is safety. This deep protective need for safety often causes us to literally harden physically. And this physical hardening is precisely what creates a stuck state, leading to a lack of flow within. It's crucial to understand that we don't choose this hardening. It's an automatic protective response that can manifest as physical tension, bracing, holding your breath, or a general sense of restriction in your body. This protective mechanism can also lead to a sense of numbing. However, our power lies in learning to awaken to these very physical sensations unfolding within us and to the numbness itself. It's in noticing where in your body you feel sensations, what quality they have, and just as importantly, where you sense an absence of feeling or a profound numbness itself, and becoming consciously aware that even if it feels like a threat is present, it might be a perceived threat rooted in past experiences, not a reality in the here and now. In that embodied awareness, we begin to reclaim our agency and our power. However, embracing this newfound agency often reveals a deeper layer of complexity. This is where the initial challenge, often a kind of catch-22, emerges. Our ability to notice requires us to be awake enough, yet the very nature of being stuck can make us feel incredibly dull or disconnected. However, awareness is just the first step. To truly break free from this catch-22 and signal safety to your body-mind, concrete action is essential. And this action, simply put, is dropping down into the body. What would that look like? Well, it might simply be engaging with a gentle body-mind practice or a guided playlist. And even when and if the idea of engaging feels uncomfortable, trusting that discomfort and taking the action is key. It's this active engagement that creates new neural pathways in your brain and initiates a rewiring throughout your entire operating system, literally teaching your body-mind that you are, in fact, safe. So, what does it look like when you're still caught in the old patterns before this crucial action takes root? Well, when we are in such a stuck state, we often can't sleep, even if we're tired. We can't eat as we don't feel hungry. Or we can even be out and seem like we're socializing, but our mind is miles away, even though our physical body is present. These are all ways we inadvertently avoid experiencing ourselves and what is truly unfolding beneath the surface. Crucially, there are also subtle ways we avoid the very embodiment and action needed to shift out of this state. There are so many ways to fake it, and fake it till you make it, well, it's not something I suggest to anyone who is truly interested in learning to thrive and moving beyond living from survival. You see, you may be able to fool other people, but you cannot fool yourself. One of the biggest problems with faking something is that it's focused on what others think, their validation and approval of you. That's a dangerous game to play because anything you haven't truly acknowledged and integrated by getting below the surface simply won't allow your energy to fully flow and will keep you from experiencing the richness of life in the long run. This inability to truly feel and integrate what's happened is deeply connected to how we process our past, and it requires a courageous act of looking within and being honest with ourselves. This necessary act allows for a slow release of attachment to who you think you are, so that the vast space of life that you are can emerge and be fully felt. However, for many, this profound sense of aliveness is often hindered by the lingering impact of unintegrated past events. Whenever we have encountered a traumatic event, whether it's a shocking, overt incident, or something more subtle, like constantly not being seen, not being heard, or being gaslighted, no matter how far back it goes in time, more often than not, there is this tendency to not have the capacity to bridge the gap between the wartime moment and our current lives. As stated so poignantly by Bessel van der Kolk, somehow the very occurrence that caused them so much pain also became their sole source of meaning. They felt fully alive only when they were revisiting their traumatic past. The challenge to awaken for many is that the mind is a meaning-giving machine. Due to undigested, challenging experiences stored as trauma in the body-mind system, a moment in time, a life lived or perhaps even survived gets frozen. Then, unconsciously, we make choices in our lives that are driven by surrounding ourselves with people and situations that continue to recreate the same pattern over and over again. It feels like time is passing and we're moving forward, but in actuality, the past continues to reappear, and we feel stuck in a loop. But here's the good news. We can get to the root of this frozen moment. In distinguishing it, there's a slow melting process, and gradually, something else emerges, something truly beautiful. Being with life as it is, tasting all the flavors that come with being a human being, and navigating life with all its ups and downs and in-betweens. So how do we begin to shift out of these repetitive loops and truly transcend them? It all starts with awakening to the present moment. And it's by actively engaging your body that you gain the most powerful tools to move through what's unfolding. Body-mind well-being is fundamentally about being in the here and now. But sometimes our operating system isn't allowing us to be present because it requires us to feel and be connected with ourselves and the world. So the first step is to become aware when you're noticing that you are actually numb. It's not possible to invite any shifts until you're present to what's unfolding in your experience. So the first thing to focus on is simply noticing that you feel numb, can't concentrate, or perhaps feel irritable. These are some signs that your nervous system is going into collapse, and this initial recognition is profoundly important. It's vital to realize that you do have options to choose from in these moments, and uncovering and discovering what those are is part of a newly developed capacity that takes time. Sometimes we instinctively look for someone else to tell us exactly what we need, but this discovery is inherently personal. While guidance and support can be incredibly valuable, even transformative, it is fundamental that you slowly develop this capacity within yourself. As the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." Once you become aware, you can then choose what will work for you most in the moment, based on your whereabouts, timetable, and energy levels. You will want to actively send conscious signals to your body that you are not in danger. It is not enough to know rationally that you are not in danger. To transcend any experience, it is fundamental to engage with your body. So, how do we begin to do this in a practical way? Some simple yet powerful ways you can do this include intentionally slowing down your breathing and beginning to send deep, full breaths into your lower abdomen, allowing it to soften and expand gradually as you would a balloon. Through this, you can immediately tap into where you sense stuckness and invite a conscious softening. You can also tap your body with little fists, up and down, arms, legs, belly, lower back, on the bottom of your feet, nice and gently. And this will help you remember that you do have a body and support grounding. You can also try rubbing your hands back and forth on your arms and legs, or slowly run your fingers up and down the sides of your neck in delicate, sweeping actions. This spot is one of the quickest places you'll sense tension, and it's also an area where you can stimulate the vagus nerve. It's quite soothing and can be used practically anywhere without drawing attention to yourself. You can also use side-to-side eye movements, nice and slow, smooth and wide. By consistently engaging in these practices, you'll discover something truly profound. This transformative shift happens because through grounding into your body and staying present to your experience, you directly connect with the present moment. In reality, the present moment is all there is, not conceptually, but actually. When you truly reside in this present moment, the experience of time suspends itself, and a sense of expanded freedom, ease, and spaciousness blooms within you. It's both a humbling journey and a great teacher. When you become aware of what's unfolding, you then have the power to invite a shift. Just this morning, as I was moving into a meditation practice, I noticed I had some messages on my phone. I chose not to read them and continued inward. At the same time, I started to become aware of all the worst-case scenarios my mind was filtering through my thoughts, and my heart began to race. I felt restriction around the hearts and lungs, and my breathing wanted to quicken. I could hear conflicting voices, but I have enough practice with this to continue to focus inward, down into my body, listen to the voice of guidance in my meditation practice, and breathe deeply, trusting that eventually I would experience a shift. And eventually I did. Was this easy? Difficult? Well, some days it's more one than the other, but that's not the point. Learning to trust yourself and know that if you can sit with whatever's unfolding, breathe, and focus on the present moment, its intensity will slowly decrease and eventually evaporate, and all will come back into balance. This personal journey of inviting a shift is precisely what brings us to the deeper work. It's about moving beyond simply coping with these experiences to embracing a new path, a journey from surviving to thriving. It is essential that we work with the body to release the stuckness and return to a flow state. Essentially, it's creating a fresh slate, a new place to come from. It's a process that is a personal choice, and to arrive there, one must get to the place that the benefits they are getting from their stuckness are less than what they are missing out on. When I say missing out on, I mean simply the possibilities that come from shifting from surviving our past to creating and living our lives in the present moment, step by step with greater awareness. And this, above all, requires being truly willing to awaken to the ways we've fallen asleep, to see our part we have played more unconsciously than not to the state of our lives. There is a great agency and comfort that can come from knowing deep within our entire being, in awakening to the fact that something else is possible. This does not come by drinking the Kool-Aid or a quick solution. It requires having courage and consistency in being willing to face ourselves. And quite honestly, it is a gentle, beautiful, and life-giving process. So many people focus on what they have to lose, but the honest-to-God truth is there is so much to gain if you are willing to slow down, pause, and really take a look. It is not a dark scariness. It is a return to a lightness and opening of life-giving energy. We need energy flowing through our bodies to get out of bed in the morning. We need energy moving through our bodies to digest. To move energy through our system requires a gentle reawakening, little nudges, if you will. And remember, wherever there's stuckness, energy isn't flowing. Choosing to engage in a process that supports you in dissolving the stuckness is a profound invitation to being fully alive through it all. So as we close this episode, I'll leave you with this gentle reminder. Part of the exquisite beauty of being human is reawakening to all of your experiences. Give yourself permission to feel them, for they are truly your greatest teachers. When we experience numbness, we're inadvertently cutting ourselves off from the richness and beauty of life itself. You can gently begin to allow yourself to feel without getting lost in the wave of the experience, and slowly, intentionally allow your life to be enriched, adding that much needed spice to life. What resonated most with you about this discussion today? Or perhaps, what's just one tiny practical step you feel you could take to start noticing or even gently shifting your own experience of numbness? Thank you so much for listening in. I truly hope this episode was supportive and inspires you perhaps to take a courageous look at any area of your life where you've become numb. May you be willing to take those baby steps to slowly reawaken to the glorious gift it is to be fully alive. If you found this episode supportive, please feel free to share it with anyone who might benefit. And remember to like, follow, or subscribe. If you are interested in working with me on any level of body-mind well-being, whether it be through individual body-mind maturation work sessions, perhaps participating in a series, individual privates, or through my video on-demand services, if you have questions, if you would like to engage on any level, feel free to schedule a free 15-minute consult in the appointment section, www.christianepiano.com, or email me directly at growth@christianepiano.com.